Well, hey there, all you beautiful Texans. Welcome back to the James Show. It's News Talk 820 WBAP, now on FM at 93.3. Yay, let's go. It's Toto Day here on the James Show. Coming up in the next segment, you're going to hear me have a chat with the founding member and the guy who's just been with him the whole time. The guy that pretty much is Toto is going to be on with us. Lukather is his name. He just goes by Luke, but yeah, stick around for that. I just gave me an excuse to listen for 15 more minutes. So even if you hate my first guest, Victor Avila. Oh, wait, is Victor not there? Oh, I'm sorry. He got switched. Good. Let me go to the first thing then. Bill Clinton on The View. I know you want to hear this. This happened today before the show, so I'm getting to tell you first. And he just told a whopper, and I wanted to run this by you because we can all just giggle together. It's a Friday. We're going to have some fun. So here he was just earlier today. Looks like the crypt keeper these days, by the way. He's getting...
Do you think it would be wise of President Biden to preemptively pardon any potential targets? What about your wife, Hillary Clinton? She apparently is on Kash Patel's list.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, they got a problem with her because first, she didn't do anything wrong.
Of course.
Oh, of course.
Second, she followed the rules exactly as they were written. Mm-hmm. Third, Trump's State Department
Keep going.
found, they remember how the emails were such a big issue in 2016? Yeah. Trump's State Department found that Hillary sent and received exactly 0 classified emails on her personal device. Mm-hmm. It was a made-up, phony story.
Yeah.
So, I guess if Kash Patel is determined to make one up, he could do it.
Oh, you're in trouble because I have the Audiotron 3000. We can just go back in time. What it was really said, and you're not going to believe who this is, Comey, which I didn't know until the Netflix special, that Comey was the guy that put Martha Stewart in prison. What a sleazy guy that is. But now here he is. This is July 7th, 2016. A Democrat ally, James Comey, even admitting what Bill Clinton just said didn't happen.
From the group of 30,000 emails returned to the State Department in 2014, 110 emails in 52 email chains have been determined by the owning agency to contain classified information at the time they were sent or received. 8 of those chains contained information that was top secret at the time.
But that's more than 0. 8's more than 0, right?
36 of those chains contained secret information at the time.
Well, 36 is more than 0.
And 8 contained confidential information at the time. That's the lowest level of classification. Although we did not find clear evidence that Secretary Clinton or her colleagues intended to violate laws governing the handling of classified information.
They did. There
is evidence that they were extremely careless in their handling of very sensitive, highly classified information.
Okay, so now listen. This may just puff and disappear into the air like a wisp of smoke. But this also may be the beginning of Bill Clinton just told a big fat lie. And all the people around in The View, of course, they're not going to push back no matter what. They're like, oh, yeah, of course, that 0. Why would he need to lie? If she didn't do anything wrong, she doesn't need a pardon. Why does he lie? Why if your husband comes home at 3 a.m. and he lies where he was at? The problem isn't the lie. The problem is why does he have to lie? He's obviously not doing something good here. Why does? Number one, he knows that they're gonna to eat it up. But number two, there are some crimes that were committed. Now, what we didn't know at the time, when I'm going to play you this next little back and forth, it's a montage that Reason made between Hillary's lies and Comey exposing the investigation that showed they were all lies. We didn't know in 2016 that right after he did this, Comey was going to take the Steele dossier, hand it off to his friends at the Washington Post, start the special counsel with Robert Mueller in the Mueller investigation, and remain as head of his department. But here's the montage. This is from the same press conference, and this was put together by Reason in July 2016.
I did not email any classified material to anyone. There is no classified material.
110 emails in 52 email chains have been determined by the owning agency to contain classified information.
These are laws that
at
she's
the
broken.
time they were sent or received.
I provided all my emails that could possibly be work-related.
Several thousand work-related emails that were not.
That's another
among
law broken,
the
not
group of
complying with the
30,000
subpoena.
emails returned by Secretary Clinton.
I thought using one device would be simpler.
She also used numerous mobile devices to send and to read email.
There were
Which is
no
actually against a
security
dinky law.
It
But
is possible that hostile actors gained access to Secretary Clinton's personal email account.
It was my practice to communicate with State Department and other government officials on their .gov accounts.
That hostile actors gained access to the private commercial email accounts of people with whom Secretary Clinton was in regular contact from her personal account.
No doubt that we've done exactly.
all right, so there's like 6 crimes right there. Now, they didn't get prosecuted in 2016, and then when Donald Trump stepped in 2017, I don't know why he was so just generous or magnanimous or whatever adjective you want to use here and didn't put this lady in prison, but why not now? Bill Clinton's over here lying about it. Kash Patel's got her on a list. Could Hillary Clinton finally go to prison? 800-288-9227 if you have any hot opinions on that. Coming up next, founding member of Toto is going to be on. And I'm not going to ask him what Africa is even about. You can just go look it up yourself. So you'll meet Luke next on The James Show. News Talk 820 WBAP, now on FM at 93.3. Hey there, welcome to the James Show, News Talk 820 WBAP, now on FM at 93.3. We are in the last day of the annual tradition, Christmas is for Caring, hosted by Neil Sperry. Neil, what are we highlighting today for the Denton State-supported living facility? Thank you very much, Neil Sperry. 214-525-2550 to make your Christmas donation. All right, now to an absolute treat here. Steve Lukather from Toto. And this guy has such a wide-ranging catalog, not just with Toto, but with so many other acts. When we do the game show coming up later, on Fridays we do a game called Name That Artist, where we play 10 songs. And you don't tell me the name of the song, you have to tell me the name of the artist. These are all going to be Steve Lukather contributed songs. And I think only one of them's Toto. You're going to hear like, well, I don't want to give away the answers now. But 10 different artists this guy's overlap with. So, as if being Toto wasn't big enough, Steve Lukather, you're about to see how deep the rabbit hole goes. So, welcome to the James Show. Now, I'm told all the cool kids just call you Luke. Do I have permission to call you Luke?
Yeah, man, the Lucas thing is killing me, though, man. I sound like one of those games where I come alive into a gigantic robot or something like that. The Lucasaur. That's cracked me up. Yeah, just call me Luke, man. It's all good.
Good deal. So I think the first thing most people want to know when they see someone have as good of a career as you is, how did you get your first foot in the first door?
Wow, man. We started together in high school, all of us, That's where I met Jeff Piccaro, through Steve Piccaro. And we had our high school band, and Jeff was in Steely Dan at the time, and we all thought, well, we want to maybe try to be studio players, And, boy, the dream came true, man. Wilder and more intense than I could have ever imagined it. And some of the greatest times of my life back then. But yeah, man, I mean, we went for it. We had television. We were going to make it in this business, and to be able to be in a band that's done as well as we have, and also have had that career back in the day when it meant something. Yeah, man, I pinch myself. I go, did I really do all that? I mean, it seems I had a pretty good sense of time management, man.
Well, what do you think of the people who are trying today? Like, what could you have done with the tools that we have now? Not just the YouTube and the social media, but also the ability to have a home studio for just a laptop and a couple of microphones.
Yeah, I mean, there's something to it, and there's something that's missing. Missing is walking into a multi-million-dollar studio, man, with all the accoutrements to make it an incredible studio with incredible players and vintage microphones and great musicians. And what are we doing? What kind of music are we playing? It's all real, played by real people, played till you got to take. It was a magical time, man. It's different now. Now you can do it all, through the computer while you're on FaceTime or whatever. It's great. It's great you can do that. I mean, I don't want to sound like the old guy, but I kind of prefer the old way. There was something more magical. You can't program magic,
Yeah, I hear you. Also, you see the one person be able to have command of all of these instruments, because I can't play a fiddle, but I can definitely program a violin into my Fruity Loop session. And, you know, if as long as you learn one instrument, you kind of have a whole lot more at your disposal. When you figured out, you know, playing other instruments and just moving beyond guitar, I mean, didn't that make you want to start doing movie scores and almost like classical symphonies?
Man, we did some of that. You know, I got kind of put our toes in all kinds of stuff in my career. That's a whole different mindset, you know, but, you know, scoring and stuff like that. You know, some of the guys in the band are really into it. I'd rather make a solo record or do something, go out and play. I did get my feet wet and it just wasn't for me, you know. It just was a lot of work for not a lot of return.
Well, I
That
just
was the way I saw it.
some guys, the guys that like scoring, they really think that's the way to go. And I kind of feel the same way about classical music. Like there shouldn't be a song that lasts 14 minutes.
Well, depends on what kind of acid you're on, man.
Right. Not the brown stuff, not the wavy gravy tint or whatever.
Stay away from the brown acid, man. You always have to stay away from that.
So what made y'all decide to get back on the road? Because I see y'all are coming to Dallas soon.
Well, the law of supply and demand. I mean, we're very fortunate to have this resurgence of people interested in our music, and we thought, well, let's get all my buddies together and go out and do a bigger tour, and you know, have a lot of laughs and make people happy, man. That's the job. You know, it's not one of those, you know, political rallies. It's not nothing. It's just a night of fun, man. It's kind of just dig a bunch of different really interesting musicians and singers and writers and musicians. You know, it sounds wild. I know you look at it and go, really? But you go, well, no, I kind of get it. I get it.
Right.
You know, why not? You know, and then people are gonna, you know, see a lot more. They're getting a good bang for your buck. You know, it's good bang for your buck.
Well, I think you've kind of caught on. There's this chord struck with the latest generation, because I noticed a few years ago there was a whole bunch of more contemporary acts that were covering the song Africa, of all the songs that you've been a part of from all the acts. Where did that come from? How did that? Yeah,
I don't know, man. It's hilarious, but it's been really good to us. So I can't be mad at it. It's been really great for the career. It's brought a whole new audience who then goes, wow, they did that song too? I didn't know they did that song. They did that song too? Or I didn't know they had 14 other albums out, you know, and all of our catalogs start selling. And people are showing up at the concerts that are young. You can see it on the Spotify numbers, 15 to 35. It's like, wow. It's a whole new generation.
How many people have covered that song now that you've noticed? We're past a dozen.
No idea. No, man. It's it's way more than a dozen, I can tell you that.
Right.
It's
so,
just, I mean, and believe me, people need. I don't know why they need to send it to me. Like they think I'm going to get all excited about it. You know, I've heard everything from you know buttholes doing it. You know, like it's you know I'm like it's really really. Occasionally there'll be something really interesting. You go, oh wow, that was pretty cool. But no, I don't know why. You know.
All right. Well, it was great getting to meet you and have a chat with you. Y'all, Steve Lukather of Toto, thank you very much for being on the James Show. Toto's coming to Dallas.
No. Right.
Anything I can promote for you before you get out of here?
No, man, just come out to the show. It's going to be great. We're going to have a blast.
All right. But just put it in your phone. Your phone knows. It'll be in Irving coming up in a few months. Thank you very much, Steve Lukather. Luke.
All right, buddy. Bye.
All right. Hit it again there, Garrett. The Toto bumper music. Bruce is so proud he put this together. He's such a fan. There he goes. All right, he's going to be our featured artist when we play Name That Artist at 4:30. 2 tickets to see Gabriel Iglesias are today's prize. Stick with me. I'm James Parker. It's The James Show. News Talk 820 WBAP, now on FM at 93.3. Yo, so mean. Well, I guess it's not mean. It's the James Show, News Talk 820 WBAP, now on FM at 93.3. Joe over here on X/Twitter says, Toto's token. It's like, okay, he maybe.
Smoke weed every day.
But I'm not shocked. I always assume that whoever wrote the song Africa, they're high right now. And that statement applies like at all times. I just assume if you wrote that song, and good on you. Keep smoking. Keep writing awesome songs. And then Beverly already said yep on it. Like the 26 seconds have to go by before we get drug jokes on the James Show. All right, back to something a little more serious here. Besides Toto, Dr. Brian Ardis is back on the show, so show a little respect here. We have a sure enough Dr. Brian. Are you wearing a white coat right now, like a lab coat?
No, I am not. Actually, I'm actually at home and not wearing a white coat.
All right. Are you wearing a DeMarvion Overshawn jersey? That's a joke.
You know it. How did you know?
All right, so the United Healthcare CEO got shot dead in the street. And that has sparked a really uncomfortable talk about health insurance and just the very nature of the business. Because, Brian, I roll my eyes at these angels online who are, if they were in control of the CEO of a insurance company, they would never deny a claim. And, you know, we all know that some claims have to be denied. Not all claims can be approved, or we'd all go out of business, or the premiums would be so high it'd be unworkable. So how does that work in the doctor's office, whether or not something gets covered or not?
Yeah, this is great. So you as a doctor, I'm sure many listening have experienced this. You've gone into your healthcare professional for some kind of symptom or a annual evaluation, and you get the results back and you are told there's something wrong and we need to prescribe to you to take some kind of medication or additional screening tests or procedures to help address a problem, only to be sent home and then receive in the mail or from the medical office that your procedures being recommended, your evaluation that you had done, your exam, or even the prescriptions that were written for you, which you learn when you go to the pharmacies, have all been denied by your healthcare insurance policy holder. So that company, this scenario is United Healthcare. Unfortunately, for the last at least 10 years, we know United Healthcare has had the worst actual numbers on immediately denying all claims. In fact, it's 17% of every claim, 1 in 5, that are mailed into United Healthcare to get coverage for the actual procedures or medications needed for the individual's health. They immediately deny 17% of all claims.
Wait. You say, do you have to mail in like the physical piece of paper? You can't do this online?
Oh, you can actually now, most things are done electronically. So you submit an electronic filled out form for insurance payment, but you can also still mail in many of those forms. And so there is a form that can be mailed in and you can digitally submit it. And regardless, you're waiting for the healthcare company to actually respond to the medical clinic or the patient saying, we are going to cover the recommended procedures or the evaluation you just got. And unfortunately, United Healthcare, industry standard-wise, for all claims, regardless if they're right now or in a few weeks from when they were submitted, United Healthcare has the worst denial percentages at 32% of all claims ever filed are all deemed uncoverable. And this is really difficult because the industry standard for all other companies like Aetna, Blue Cross Blue Shield, they sit around 16% lifetime of denied claims. United Healthcare has twice as high as the industry standard. And I want to give you some money numbers. You ready?
Okay.
This last year, there was a report done by KFF. This is a medical surveying company, and they found out and published, reviewing federal data also, that American citizens right now have a collective debt that they owe for their medical prescriptions, medical procedures that have already been done. They owe, the people do, in their homes, $200 billion in medical debt.
That just made the headline stinger go off. Sorry, go ahead.
That's great. Now, this is important. That's what was denied to all of these people by their healthcare companies, that now the people, the patients, are being told you owe. That makes an average for 3 million of these people carrying a debt of $10,000 or more for medical expenses that weren't covered by their insurance. Now, What about the heinous murder of the CEO, Brian Thompson of United Healthcare? Do you know how much money United Healthcare, who is the worst at paying out claims to their policyholders, do you know what the actual revenue last year was for United Healthcare?
Wait, no, I think I do have the number.
$1,000,000,400,000,600,000,000,000.
Jokes aside, I think $1.5 trillion.
So United Healthcare alone last year, premiums and deductibles paid by their policyholders that 1 in 3 people are completely denied all their coverage. They made $281 billion in this 12 months of 2024. That is more money for that one company than the entire debt that people as patients who have health insurance owe their credit card companies or those medical offices for those services that were not covered by their insurance. And that is a disgusting, I believe, statistic. That one insurance company made more money this year alone from your premiums, but denied the most claims of all health insurance companies, leaving not just them, but leaving all American citizens who do have health insurance with $200 billion right now of medical expenses they cannot cover on their own.
Dr. Brian Ardis, what's the fix?
The fix is this. Inside of every health insurance company, and I'm really sorry to make everybody aware, all the legislators and those who are in charge of legislation, you have got to take a look at the healthcare companies, health insurance companies, because all of them in the last 20 years, what is driving all medical offices crazy and hospitals and the patients who have the insurance coverage, what's driving them nuts, all the denials are coming from United Healthcare, Blue Cross Blue Shield, Aetna, and all the other health insurance companies. Did you know that when students at medical school, chiropractic school, dental school graduate, these insurance companies are bribing those people to not go into practice and to come work for them on a high-paid salary just to review claims and deny as many of them as possible? So as your medical doctor does an evaluation on you, says you have high blood pressure, you need a medication, they send the claim into United Healthcare. And at United Healthcare, they have a room where they have medical doctors looking at your exam findings and then finding reasons to say, no, we're not going to cover that. This is how they're handling this. Now, the other people that they hire, and they need to fire all these people and make sure they get them out. When I'm talking about legislators, you need to hold insurance companies responsible for making sure they have a limited amount of denial opportunities, the appeals, which are written by the medical professionals and offices to try to get paid when they're denied. They need to have a certain window of time at which they have to settle the claim. They already do this with auto insurance claims. They need to do this with health insurance companies. They need to hold them to a time frame that has to be settled, only allow so many appeals before they pay out, and they need to start kicking out and not allowing insurance companies to pay licensed professionals to come in and find reasons to dismiss claims. That's what they're being paid for. That is what they're being hired for, and they need to remove them from the entire equation. And then number two, if you want to reduce the burden and stress of having claims denied by the insurance company you're paying every month with premiums, you should start working to improve your own health. And I'm not joking, invest in exercising, dietary changes. There are chronic disease burdens that are the majority of what's being denied as claims, leaving these people who are sick with chronic illnesses at home with flipping the bill for all of their very expensive healthcare costs. So taking care of your own health is going to be number one. Number two, there is ways to actually reduce your premium and out-of-pocket expenses with health insurance companies. You can transition out of network with different insurance companies, and you can start paying cash for medical services, and you would be shocked that all of those expenses are cheaper than what your insurance company is going to be billed and what they eventually might pay out. It is ridiculous. For example, one such example.
Brian, we got 30 seconds.
If you have an MRI that you need, somebody says you have kidney stones, you need to get an MRI. You could go in with your insurance. They're going to bill your insurance $3,500 for that. But if you don't, if it gets denied by United Healthcare, you're going to have to pay the $3,500 to that center. Did you know if you go into an MRI center right now by yourself and just walk in there and say, I need an MRI, and I'm a cash-paying patient, did you know you'd only pay $200 to $250 in total? You need to start asking for cash pricing because it might be cheaper than what you might be left to flip when
Well-
your insurance coverage is denied.
Well, Brian, I don't know the answers to any of those questions. I've gotten 0 MRIs, so that sounds like some useful information. You can find them at the Dr. Ardis Show, the DRARDIS, the drardisshow.com. Thank you very much. Good stuff, Brian.
You rock. Have a great weekend, everybody.
All right, there goes Dr. Ardis. Coming up next, Steve, if you'll hang on, we'll talk to you about your insurance company woes, because I've been hearing a lot of complaints from people who've had to deal with health insurance after the shooting. Even though they're not cool with the shooting. We'll talk about that next on The James Show. 800-288-9227. 800-288-9227. I'm James Parker. It's The James Show. News Talk 820 WBAP, now on FM at 93.3. Hey there, welcome back to the James Show. I'm your host, James Parker. It's News Talk 820 WBAP now on FM at 93.3. We're on the last final day for Christmas is for Caring, the 46th annual charity benefit for the Denton State Supported Living Center. Neil Sperry, you've done a great job hosting. What do the people need to know on this last day of the fundraiser? Thank you very much, Neil Sperry. All right, well, my last guest was talking about the problem a lot of people have getting their health insurance claims approved, a lot of denies, a lot of ticked off people. Every time this comes up, I get angry messages. People who've been through this process are very unhappy. So whenever the phone rings and a guy calls in, I imagine it's an angry story about how something happened to them. And that was the difficult part about when this guy was murdered. Because the question you have with any murder, if you don't know who did it, you immediately say, well, who could have a motive? Who could have some sort of incentive to kill this guy? And for United Health, apparently millions of people. Coming up, there's a couple things that are going to happen at the very beginning of the next hour. We're going to talk to an immigration attorney and get you caught up on what's going on with the border. And I want you to hear Ann Coulter talk to Dan Abrams. It's a show on News Nation that I'm kind of partial to because Dan Abrams, I think he's local because there's a big Dallas skyline in the background on his show. So that makes me stop flipping through. And this is a woman who I don't agree with everything she says, obviously, but she's better at making predictions than me. And she does a list of predictions on all the Trump nominees. I want you to hear that. So stick around for that coming up right after you hear from the news update. Boys to Men's coming to WinStar World Casino April 19th. For more information and tickets, go to winstar.com or you can text ROAD to 800-288-9227. You know, like into the road to 800-288-9227 for Boys to Men tickets at WinStar World Casino, April 19th. I'm James Parker. It's The James Show. News Talk 820 WBAP now on FM at 93.3. Well, hey there, all you beautiful Texans. Happy Friday. Welcome back to the James Show. It's News Talk 820 WBAP, now on FM at 93.3. A couple quick updates before my next guest. Number one, blessedbethefruit.org, your home for Project 2025 implementation. You can order your Super Bible at blessedbethefruit.org. The Super Bible is the ultimate holy book with a compilation of the Old Testament, New Testament, Constitution, and Project 2025 all in one book. Order today at blessedbethefruit.org. And also the other thing I got to get to before Victor Avila here is Steve is going to be your hero. Steve is the hero of the day right now, doing God's work. Because we're having the James Show meetup on Tuesday at the Richardson Bar and Grill. And I proposed for the event, one of the specials could be for their wing platter. It would be all right wings. And so the owners were nice enough to agree. But I didn't know when I said it and I proposed it, and it is a good idea, but they don't sell the wings separately. They all come in the same bags. So Steve has volunteered. He's in the back right now going through all the chicken wings, separating right and left. So we'll have that ready for the James Show meet and greet, just a meetup. Richardson Bar and Grill. Coming up this Tuesday, December 17th, 7 p.m. I think I might put some details at blessedbethefruit.org. I don't know if I get around to it. Such a super busy, important guy. All right, Victor Avila, welcome back to the James Show. Talked about some serious stuff, immigration. What is going on? Is this true? We're auctioning off pieces of the border wall that hadn't been constructed yet for $5 a pop? That doesn't sound like it could be true.
It's absolutely true. It's online, and it is despicable. It's outrageous, and I'll tell you what, it's just a slap in the face to every U.S. citizen taxpayer, because we've already paid billions of dollars for that material. And it's not just the steel parts of the wall, but there's other technology that they're also auctioning off. And this is just, this is blatantly, obviously, on purpose, before they leave the office, trying to destroy as much as they can before, and making it harder for President Trump and the new administration to take over. They almost wanted to make it as difficult as possible, because they know we're going to build that wall. So we're going to try to make it as hard as possible to get the materials. Let's get them out of the way. By the way, I've seen these materials in New Mexico and South Texas. Many years have been abandoned in these. Some spots it's just wide open right next to the existing wall. Other parts it's fenced off with these huge, acres of planks and planks of the steel wall material. But it's incredible that this is. How can we even tolerate it as Americans? Because now we're going to have to buy it back. Are we going to have to, go as a government or entity and buy back our own material that we already spend money on? This is completely ridiculous. And the problem here, James, is that nobody's holding the Biden administration accountable for doing this.
All right. Now I'm thinking the same thing as the person listening to us right now. Who's buying these? Is there someone else that's building their own border wall and they're like, oh, good, I can get some pieces?
Well, I'm not buying them for my fence in my house, that's for sure. So I don't know who's buying them. It's a steal, because at $5 a pop, my goodness, they're getting an incredible bargain. And I don't know, these steel manufacturers out there that might, look into it and grab it. But who knows who's buying this, who wants to buy it. It just literally started off this past week. So, the people are participating in this and allowing it to happen.
Well, the next thing I think of is, well, if they're selling them for $5, I can buy a few. Can I buy some? Who do I call?
Well, it's $5, and you get I don't know if it's just one long piece, but these big bundles going for like $10,000, and they have different price points and different bundles and different prices you could get at depending on how much material you want to get. But this is nuts, right? It'd be nice if we had an incredible donor and say, you know what, I'm going to buy it back for the American people and donate it back to the government and put it right back, because we're literally going to go need it in a couple of months.
Yeah, dude, there's a lot of us. We could all buy a piece and we'll just have it shipped, to Laredo or something.
Set it up, and I'll help you get that movement going.
This seems like a petty, childish thing, but it's not going to be that big of a speed bump. Even if they do sell them all off, we'll just make some more, Victor.
We will, and you're right. It's not. It's just that we, like I said, we have to. Why do we have to put up with this? It just makes you wonder what team they're on. They're not on Team America, and I'm talking about the left. and I'm not going to have the left chicken wings by the way that you're going to have on Tuesday. I'm only going to have the right ones. And this is the craziness that we have to deal with this, but we are going to do it. The money's not going to be the issue, and I want people to understand that when it comes to the deportations and all these enforcement activities that we're going to do, building the wall, task forces, the money's not going to be the issue because I think Americans, at least I am, spending our money, this is where I want our money to go, and I want to see the result of our taxpayer money being used for the protection of the American citizen. We just had a 7-year-old little girl murdered by an illegal alien, drunk driver near Houston again. And I'm sick and tired of these cases happening on a daily basis. So I'm okay with spending that money because it's going to help us in the long run.
Well, is there a place for border protection agents like yourself when it comes to these drones? Don't y'all have to be prepared for such a thing?
Absolutely, and let me tell you, that's a whole other thing. I'll tell you what, on the border, and this is not a joke about, but the cartel is very prominent in using these drones right along the border, and they do it for a lot of different reasons. One is just to gather intel of the movement of the border agents and where they can cross and not cross, where to send their small loads to then send the bigger loads at a different location and kind of maneuver their traffic. But they've also are using these drones to actually deliver fentanyl pills. Remember, fentanyl pills is a lot easier to carry over than big bulky marijuana and cocaine bricks. So they're coming over, dumping them, and then flying back over. Very dangerous. And we have been able to grab some of those and examine the sophistication of these guys. This is where the cartels are very different, and I want people to understand the sophistication of these organized crime networks that are using drones themselves.
Right, and I don't want to say I admire the cartels. I just think it's pretty sorry that they got the technology to make deliveries before Domino's did. Very disappointed. I should be having drone-delivered pizzas by now. Where do we find your work outside of WBAP, Victor?
Follow me on X at Victor Avila TX, like Texas, and Instagram, Victor Avila Jr.
All right, thank you, Victor Avila.
Thank you.
Coming up next, Ann Coulter was on Dan Abrams Live, and they were discussing which cabinet picks by President-elect Donald Trump she thinks will be confirmed. And I'm going to let you hear from her. She actually has a better record of predicting these things than me. And it'll give you a lot to think about. So stick around on The James Show. 800-288-9227 if you want to jump in. 800-288-9227. I'm James Parker. It's The James Show. News Talk 820 WBAP, now on FM at 93.3. Hey there, welcome back to the James Show. News Talk 820 WBAP, now on FM at 93.3. Stick around, you're going to hear Ann Coulter and Dan Abrams run through the list of cabinet-level picks. It's good to just hear the list, but also to hear someone who's better at predicting their success, better record than I have of predicting these things. That's going to come up after we get you caught up with Neil Sperry. He's hosting the 46th annual Christmas is for Caring charity fundraiser for the Denton State Supported Living Center. And now we're trying to give them a little extra in life. We've got all the basics covered. I like the sound of these outings, Neil. Thank you, Neil Sperry. 214-525-2550. The call goes to a room that's just right next to me. This isn't going to some call center. This isn't going to some corporation that hates you and is going to skim off a ton for administrative costs. This is a real deal, real local charity that really makes a difference. 214-525-2550. One thing you like about these new little networks that are popping up, it's always been the mainstream media, and then Fox got like a little toehold of the oppositional view in there. And then for a long time, it was just Fox News. And then you have Fox Business that's kind of a thing, but it's sort of limited in how much it's going to compete. But since we've gotten into the cord cutting, streaming, now you've seen News Nation pop up and OAN and Real America's Voice. And there's all kinds of great little sub channels like the Blaze, and Steven Crowder's got his little channel that's kind of awesome. Dr. Phil's Merit Street got some good programming on it. So I understand if you can't keep up with all of them. I can't either. But Dan Abrams, I think the show's from here. What's the other one? Grant Stinchfield is his name. He's from here too. But I stopped on this because it had Dallas in the background. But I ended up liking the segment so much I wanted to share it with you. Ann Coulter, great at making predictions. Go read some of her old books. Go read her book, Demonic. She predicted Al Sharpton would get a show on MSNBC. It happened like 4 months after the book came out. She also predicted the Occupy movement. She's like, they're just going to start camping. And it like 6 months later, that happened. Anyway, here she is talking with Dan Abrams about the cabinet nominees thus far.
Okay. All right. I want to do a quick lightning round. I'm going to ask you whether you think the following people are going to be confirmed by the Senate, not whether you think they should be. All right?
Okay.
Maybe the answer to all of them is yes. Maybe the answer to all of them is no. I don't know.
Say at the outset, I have no idea, but go ahead.
What? Yes. RFK Jr.
Yes.
Pete Hegseth.
50-50.
Tulsi Gabbard for Director of National Intelligence.
I don't know.
Kash Patel.
If she isn't, she'll be shot down for the wrong reason, if I could say that.
Okay.
I think she's a little bit nutty. She belongs to some crazy Hindu cult. It's like a.
So you think she probably
Nobody's
won't?
even talked about that, but I think the neoconservatives, the foreign policy community, she doesn't want to go to war. I'd support her for that reason. So she'll be shot down, if she's shot down, for completely the wrong reason.
All right. Kash Patel for FBI.
Yes.
Kristi Noem for Homeland Security.
I hope not.
I asked for what do you think? And finally, Pam Bondi, Attorney General.
Also hope not, but I think all the girls will be confirmed because Republican men are afraid to vote against a woman.
Really?
Yeah, and I think Kristi Noem is the worst of all the nominees, especially at that important cabinet position, Homeland Security. And Pam Bondi, I mean, she's okay, but
Pam Bondi's definitely going to get confirmed.
yeah, because she's a woman.
Well, because she's not Matt Gaetz.
All right, you got to give Ann Coulter credit. She says things with little regard on whether or not other people find them abrasive, which kind of sounds familiar. That sounds like another host we know, another media figure that we know. First name James, last name Parker, I believe. Something like that's coming to mind. But I like the rundown there. I would like to know, because she has answers for it, on what's her beef with Kristi Noem. I haven't heard a whole lot of people complain about her, but I haven't done a deep dive into her. Apparently, Ann Coulter knows something I don't. And that has absolutely happened before. So that's just another one to look out for. Dan Abrams, I remember seeing him on other platforms before he showed up on this one. And, I like seeing Dallas in the background when I'm flipping through the TV. I'm tired of seeing New York City or Washington, D.C.
New York City!
Yeah, I know. I had to play it, get a rope, all that good stuff. 800-288-9227, 800-288-9227. Coming up next, I'm going to talk to Dallas media sports legend John-Jacques Taylor, JJT. We're going to talk about the Cowboys, and I'm going to ask him, why shouldn't they just take a knee for the rest of the season? Why even play? They're playing Carolina this weekend. Why? Why just hike the ball, let Cooper Rush take a knee, and we'll just run out the clock from the first snap. 800-288-9227. I'm James Parker. It's The James Show. News Talk 820 WBAP, now on FM at 93.3. Hey there, welcome to the James Show, News Talk 820 WBAP, now on FM at 93.3. Welcome to the big show. It's been a terrible season for the Cowboys, and I say that as a Cowboy fan who was hoping for something great, but it's just, it was a tough roster to begin with, and then it's been shot all to hell, so I guess this one, it's just over. Jean-Jacques Taylor, Dallas media legend. Am I too pessimistic here? Is there anything to salvage from this Cowboys season?
Not really, bro. Now if we're gonna be honest, had you been listening to me at the start of the season, then you never would have got your hopes all up. I thought they were an 8-9 football team exiting training camp because they didn't really do anything to improve themselves in the off season. But I would say, if you're feeling bad after last week, I'm gonna give you a pass because that was kind of a crotch kick with losing DeMarvion Overshown and then losing the way that they did at the end. And frankly, man, it's been kind of morose out there at the start this week. Go ahead.
Well, look, even if we get through this year and everyone gets healthy and stuff, we have no cap space foreseen for the next 3-4 years because we just signed some huge contracts. Like I have little hope to be optimistic for years going forward.
Okay, my friend, let me hit you the game. Don't buy into that. That is management telling you they have no cap space. Every other team in the league understands how to manipulate the cap. And the Cowboys understand how to manipulate the cap. They just choose not to. This is like you can do whatever you want to do with the cap. And whatever you say can be accurate, though it doesn't have to be true. Which means you can say I'm very tight against the cap. But if you made these two moves, you could create $30 million worth of cap space in 5 minutes. You just choose not to for whatever reason. So they can do whatever they want to do to get deals done. But here's the deal. You can worry so much about not spending money that you don't take advantage of the money that you have. And that's probably the Cowboys' problem. Like, in the world of business, we know it's always better to use somebody else's money to make things happen. And you can use credit and you can use loans. You can do all kinds of things to make things happen when you personally don't have cash. And the Cowboys can operate like that. They just choose not to. So I, my friend, do not feel sorry for them.
Well, look, there have been teams that have been horrible with managing the cap. The Cleveland Browns come to mind. That's where giant, dumb contracts go to die, whether it's Brock Osweiler or now Deshaun Watson. Or there's a whole lot of examples of cap mismanagement maybe being one of the big reasons Cleveland's been so futile all these years. I just don't see the Cowboys doing a whole lot better.
Well, that has more to do with, drafting and some other things and player development and making some poor decision-making than it does with the cap. The Eagles are tight against the cap. They figure out ways to make it happen every year. Again, you can do what you want to with the cap. The cap doesn't really limit you at a certain level. What was that? 2 years ago, Denver took a $68 million cap hit to get rid of Russell Wilson because they signed him to a poor contract. He didn't perform, and they took the hit. And look at Denver now. They've already rebounded. They don't even talk about Russell Wilson. They've moved on. So the Cowboys can do those sorts of things, but they choose not to. They're going to have a tough time this week getting up emotionally ready to play and because they have nothing to play for. Carolina is playing for the future. Like, we've been bad this whole time. There's a chance for us to go into the offseason feeling good about ourselves. They played pretty good for the last 6 weeks. And Dallas, after what they went through last week, it's going to be hard for them to get up emotionally ready to play. And it doesn't really show up. It can look sometimes like they quit, but what happened is their preparation in the week is not as good. And so you're a step slow. And in the NFL, when you're a step slow, man, you get beat.
Do you have any inside info on whether or not Zach Martin's coming back at all?
I don't have any inside info, but he talked all offseason about this probably being his last year. He talked most of this year about this being his last year. I guess I would expect him to retire. The only way I wouldn't is if he decided, I don't want to really end my career on an injury. But Bill Parcells said this when he showed up in 2003. At some point, once players start talking about retirement, they've already retired in their minds. And he's talking about it for a long time. This is a very hard, physical, brutal game. He's got money. I don't know why he would come back.
Is Mike McCarthy with us for the duration?
Define duration, because his contract is up at the end of the year, my friend.
Do you think he'll be back next year?
No. I
Okay.
don't know. You help me. If you go 12-5, 12-5, 12-5, and don't get a contract extension, why would you get a contract extension if you go 5-12 or 6-11?
Because there's no one else waiting in the wings better. That's a terrible endorsement.
That is no endorsement, my friend.
Right. That's not an endorsement at all.
You can find. Let's not act like you can't find somebody to coach Cowboys. I mean, my personal thought, I would not hire this guy if it were me, but he fits everything Jerry Jones wants. And who is that name?
You're not gonna say Belichick, are you?
No, he just got a job.
With UNC. Okay. Who does fit that? Kellen?
Kellen Moore.
Oh, okay. I did guess it. Okay.
Former Cowboys assistant, so he understands the Cowboys and how they work with Jerry. He's with Philadelphia. If they get to the NFC Championship game or the Super Bowl, hey, I was the coordinator for a Super Bowl NFC Championship team. I learned a lot since I've been gone. Dak loves me. Hey, look, I even ran the ball this year with Saquon Barkley. Y'all said I wouldn't run the ball. I'm not going to cost a lot because I'm just happy to have the job. He checks all the boxes. Don't know if he'll get the job, but I guarantee you, if it just comes open, he'll get an interview, and he checks all the boxes, and it wouldn't shock me at all if he's the next coach of the Dallas Cowboys.
That's interesting. All right, so let's talk about the possibility of a Kansas City three-peat for the first time in NFL history. Is that what you see in the cards?
Well, they are the champs until somebody beat them. They're winning games by the hair of the chin this year, but that doesn't really matter because most games are decided by one score or less. They're just really good at it. So they believe in themselves. And I think with Kansas City, they understand how to win. Everybody does not know how to win. Look at your Dallas Cowboys.
Right.
They understand how to win and what's required to win. And here's the deal. There's a certain moment in every game where it's there to be won or lost. It could happen in the first quarter. It could happen in the fourth quarter. The best teams in Kansas City fits this category, recognize that moment, and they take the game right there. Bad teams either don't recognize the moment or can't capitalize on the moment and lose. And so I think if I was betting money, I would bet on somebody other than Kansas City, but it wouldn't surprise me at all if they went and won it again.
All right, where do we find your work?
They can play at home.
Where do we find your work, Jean-Jacques Taylor?
You can just check me out. I'm going to be like Tom Signotti. You can check me out at the jjtmediagroup.com.
Thank you very much. Dallas media legend Jean-Jacques Taylor on The James Show. All right. Yeah, I'm pessimistic, but I have a right to be. I think I just got confirmation there on my pessimism. I appreciate it. 800-288-9227 if you have any hot opinions on that. 800-288-9227. Coming up next, a new report says there were 26 secret FBI sources in the crowd at January 6th. This whole charade's kind of starting to unravel, and it looks like was the FBI entrapping and persecuting its own citizens? I'm James Parker. It's The James Show. News Talk 820 WBAP, now on FM at 93.3. Hey there, welcome to the James Show, News Talk 820 WBAP, now on FM at 93.3. If you got any comments for the big show, 800-288-9227, 800-288-9227. There will be a meetup. It's an informal, it's not an official station event. We're not going to run promos or anything for it. No one's getting paid. But December 17th, 7 p.m., Richardson Bar and Grill. If you want more information, ask me about it on Facebook or something. Just so much to get to here because I have things I wanted to do this segment, but then we found one of these drones actually crashed in someone's backyard, so I was kind of reading up on it, and I'll probably finish reading a couple more things on the next break and update you after 4 o'clock on the latest drone news. But a new report said that there was 26 secret FBI sources in the crowd at January 6th. We're going to talk about that after we get you caught up with Neil Sperry. He's continuing to host the 46th annual Christmas is for Caring fundraiser for the Denton State-supported Living Center. And today we're trying to raise money for outings. These seem like something that can make all the difference as far as standard of living goes, Neil. Two 214-525-2550. Thank you very much, Neil Sperry. And thank you, all you people who have donated. Thank you to the people who are in the room behind me taking the calls. You're all the real angels. You're never going to get the credit that you deserve, but thank you. Actually making the world a better place. You should be really happy with yourself. All right, so a new report came out, and you knew the number was going to be pretty big, but 26, this is what they've admitted to. 26 confidential human sources for the FBI were in the crowd on January 6th. Now, they say only 3 of them were directed to be there. And also, I'm kind of noticing in the wording here that they're sort of leaving wiggle room for what if they're not confidential human sources? What if they're actual on the payroll agents? You know, the ones with the 401k or whatever they have in government instead of a 401k. So this is just the confidential human sources. This sounds more and more like the Gretchen Whitmer assassination plot, where you were told that a bunch of crazy, wild-eyed MAGA extremists were going to kidnap, possibly murder the governor of Michigan. Finds out of the 16 people in the group, 4 of them were acting on behalf of the feds, including the 2 leaders. And the most they got out of them was, you know, one day we're going to have to do more than just talk. We're going to have to go get her. And you'd be willing to kill for your country, wouldn't you? And just like as vague as that. And then some guys go, yeah, I guess so. See, they want to kidnap the governor. Let's arrest them. And this also, like, if you're the FBI doing this, Is this the FBI that's leaving the pallets of bricks when they were having all the George Floyd riots and all the Antifa riots? Remember the pallets? Who was leaving these pallets of bricks? You also see this week, if you're terminally online like me, that this shadowy, mysterious Patriot Front group says that they're going to cease operations. What? You're going to cease operations in this tiny little window between the election and the start of the next administration? Geez, that's what an outfit would do if they were just a wholly owned subsidiary project of a federal agency. And so for those of you who are suspicious, like the Patriot Group's not even a real thing. It's just a bunch of feds cosplaying as white supremacists to what? Keep us at odds? To scare? To keep their power? I mean, there's a lot that's unraveling here. And if we could just get half of the country to admit that there's some things, you can say something negative about the other side that's incorrect. There's a lot of weird stuff that's all starting to converge with the January 6th. You remember the Governor Whitmer case. You remember all the Antifa riots and the BLM riots. You remember all the weird Patriot Front stuff. And it sounds like so much of this really is just feds cosplaying to what? Stir up chaos because it's politically advantageous for them? I think it really is that simple. I don't think you need a motive for power other than power is its own motive. More to come on this, I'm sure. And these are the things that I expect they're going to be uncovered, hopefully pretty soon within the first few months of the next administration, because they're talking about uncovering all this. I can't wait. All right, Gabriel Iglesias is coming to WinStar World Casino February 1st. They're one of our contests right now. You can text the word funny to 800-288-9227 if you want to try and win tickets to see Gabriel Iglesias. Text the word funny to 800-288-9227. And then also stick around because I'm giving away 2 tickets to that show for Name That Artist coming up at about 4:35-ish. So we're going to play the montage around 4:20, 4:25, and then we'll play the game at 4:35 for Gabriel Iglesias tickets. So stick around. I'm James Parker. It's The James Show. News Talk 820 WBAP, now on FM at 93.3. Well, hey there, all you beautiful Texans. Happy Friday. Welcome back to the James Show. It's News Talk 820 WBAP, now on FM at 93.3. Let's go. Happy Friday. I'm not playing the broke song this time. Ha ha ha. That's how good things are. My next guest is going to keep an eye on what's going on with our foreign policy stuff. And I think a little bit of drone talk would be in your wheelhouse, wouldn't it, David Hamilton? Welcome back.
Love to chat with you about that. But what do you mean? What drones? There aren't any drones, are there?
Yeah. So who's that? Kirby that said, a lot of these are actually manned aircraft that are being mistaken for drones.
Illegal and fixed wing.
Hey, look, I'm sure some of them are. Okay, but what about these ones that aren't?
Like the one that fell in someone's backyard.
Well, I saw a report that was actually a retail drone that was just like a hobbyist. Okay, that was.
I'm sure it is, but all we have to be able to do is identify them, right? We just need to know what they are, right? And whether they're retail, authorized, or otherwise. I think the really big picture issue here isn't the threat of the drones, et cetera. It's that we don't seem to be very good at organizing ourselves, communicating, verifying, if need be, shooting one down, tracking it back to its origin. The slowness, the speed at which we're dealing with this, and the way that we're obfuscating is what concerns me more than the drones.
Oh, yeah. Well, also, they have to know. And if they don't know, that's a whole scandal in and of itself. But why can't they just tell us?
Well, a good example is there was a helicopter that was hovering above one of these drones. You looked down at it and could see exactly what it was. And yet the reports coming out of our government agencies was, we're not sure it was a drone. We think it's a fixed wing aircraft. It's 6 feet wide. Unless you're a very tiny person, you're not fitting in that thing. There's no need to lie and treat us like we're idiots. If you don't know, you don't know. Tell us, et cetera, or you're not at liberty yet to tell us, fine. But the idea that you couldn't trace one of those back to their origin in that helicopter is beyond. It's unfallible. These sorts of things need to happen faster. If they are a real threat, we need to be able to respond to them and verify them. And then secondly, we do need to be a little more transparent with our public.
Well, we've been seeing these in more and more states today. If you had to guess, are we still leaning toward this? These are our drones and they're just testing them and not telling us?
This is a somewhat unregulated world, field, et cetera. It's a new thing. There are people running these that own them privately. There are companies that are trying to deliver goods using them. And then some could be an actual threat. If I was a terrorist and I wanted to inflict harm, strapping some explosives to a relatively inexpensive drone and dropping it near a soft target seems like a really good way to do that. So we need to get better at this. And I'll tell you, there's some folks that are really good at this, and they're called Ukrainians. You give me 2 Ukrainian soldiers in 24 hours, they would find them all, either destroy them or find out where they're coming from.
Yeah, right. So that seems to be like the next new frontier in warfare is manipulation of these drones. So that makes the situation even a little more ominous.
Yeah, well, the Ukrainians are largely winning this war, or the wins they've had have been $1,000 drones destroying $1 million tanks. I mean, they've changed the way wars are fought. These wars will not be fought again the same way, et cetera. And if you look at our oceans, our navies, having great big ships that are vulnerable that could be knocked out, as opposed to hundreds, if not thousands of them, or sea-going versions of drones, that's going to happen too. So the Ukrainian war, this proxy war that we've been funding, is changing how wars are going to be fought, and we have to learn from that. And domestically, America is relatively safe. We're surrounded by water. Our toughest neighbor are the Canadians, so we feel pretty safe. But you can send a drone from cheaply from a really long distance, and you can hit just about any target without it necessarily coming back to you. So we need to get really, really good at identifying these things as a threat or not. 48 hours, 72 hours, 3 or 4, 6 days is not acceptable.
Well, we also saw when Iran tried to do their strike with drones that they failed miserably. So they can't be the top of the drone game. Who do we need to be concerned about? Russia, China?
The American drones are the best. The Chinese drones are very, very good, et cetera. The Iranians are not as good. But, heck, if I'm hiring anybody, I'm going to get Amazon. I mean, they'll figure this out, right? Yeah. They're going to get good. So. at delivering goods and services, and they've been working on these. So American commercially developed drones are perfectly capable of being used in this dual use fashion.
Do you have any advice if you're going to shoot a drone out of the sky? You know, with shotgun, a hunting rifle, what would you recommend?
Yeah, well, probably a rifle if it's high enough up. If it's closer, definitely a shotgun. It's hard to miss with one of those.
Fantastic. All right, tell them how they find how they find your work outside of WBAP, David.
Sure, America's Future Series. You can go to www.americasfutureseries.com. We're a nonpartisan think tank and speaker series, and we focus on issues impacting U.S. global competitiveness and national security. And we host events, and we'd love your viewers to come, your listeners to come out and to our website, check those out, and come participate.
All right, let me know if you see any drones, David Hamilton.
Will do.
All right, appreciate you. Coming up next, the stripper who accused the Duke lacrosse team of rape. She admitted she was lying. I mean, we kind of knew she was lying and they were exonerated in court and whatnot, but she actually said it in an interview. You'll hear it from her own mouth coming up next. And then we can extrapolate what that means now that we know this was yet another race hoax. 800-288-9227, 800-288-9227. I'm James Parker. It's The James Show. Newstalk 820 WBAP, now on FM at 93.3. Hey there. Happy Friday. Welcome to the James Show. It's News Talk 820 WBAP, now on FM at 93.3. I am your host, James Parker. Right now, I am along with Dallas radio legend Neil Sperry, who is hosting the 46th annual Christmas is for Caring benefit for the residents of the Denton State Supported Living Center. And I was just out in the hallway listening to the people call in. I heard some donations coming in. Keep them coming, guys. Probably so, yeah. All right. Well, don't let that stop you from calling 214-525-2550. Thank you, Neil Sperry. All right. Let me go ahead and get the montage out of the way, because in the next segment, we're going to play Name That Artist. But you need to know if you can recognize these 10 Toto songs. And it's not Toto. They're not Toto. It's Steve Lukather from Toto. Is actually a session musician and collaborated with so many different other musical acts. There's 10 hits that we made just of him. So if you can recognize these 10 songs and you want 2 tickets to see Gabriel Iglesias at the WinStar Casino February 1st, you're going to want to call in. All right. So let's go ahead and hear the montage. All right, so that's your montage. Wow. Difficult. But you can go ahead and get on the phone and line up if you want to see Gabriel Iglesias. We're going to do Name That Artist. Call 800-288-9227, 800-288-9227. All right, the other piece of audio that I think you need to hear, because this just confirms something that you were right about this entire time, that the media was wrong about this entire time, and just add it to the long parade of failures here. The Duke Lacrosse case. that lady finally admitted that she lied about the lacrosse players raping her. Now, for those of you who are too young to remember, because this probably happened when Garrett was born, or maybe you just weren't paying attention, there was a big case back in, I guess, what was it, 2007-ish, and a black lady said that these frat boys had raped her at a frat party. Well, she's black and they're white, and so that makes it national news. No other rapes like this get national attention. It's just a chance to make to draw a divide between black America and white America. That's all it was all about. The usual suspects came down and they condemned it. See, we told you that America is a racist, hateful place, and black women are being oppressed by white guys all the time. This probably happens all day, every day. They're probably going to get away with it because they're rich and white, and that makes them evil. And we learned, like, through the case, there's absolutely no evidence. In fact, there's a lot of evidence that was contrary to it. There's an ATM receipt that puts one of the guys not even at the place when it was supposed to happen. And so the case fell apart. And then a few years after that, she has to go to prison because she murdered her boyfriend. Oh, so now we know that she's not really a saint who was just trying to work her way through medical school, doing whatever she could as a single mom to get by. No, she's a conniving little evil person. She's a murderer and a liar. And she's about to actually get out of prison, but I know she only got an 18-year sentence. She's up for parole coming up in, I don't know, like, what would that be, 6 years? Yikes. But she did an interview from prison. Her name's Crystal Mangum, and she finally actually admitted it. And it feels so good to hear. As terrible as this story is, at least she admits
I testified falsely against them by saying that they raped me when they didn't. And that was wrong. And I betrayed the trust of a lot of other people who believed in me, and made up a story that wasn't true because I wanted validation from people and not from God. And that was wrong. And I hope that they can forgive me.
Yeah, and the problem isn't even so much her. It is the willingness of the media to take the flimsiest of stories, whether it's the Duke lacrosse players, whether it's the Brett Kavanaugh accusations, or the E. Jean Carroll accusations against Donald Trump. Accusations that have no merit, they have no basis, they have no witnesses, they have no evidence, they don't have a time or place necessarily for many of these. They just fit the narrative, and so the media runs with it. And it doesn't matter if they're exonerated now. Their life is ruined. Their life is over. They probably had to change their names. I don't even want to look them up and bother them. But from now for the rest of their lives, what are they going to be? Those three guys. They're going to be the Duke lacrosse guys. Something that happened when they were 20, that they didn't even do anything wrong. They were falsely accused. Is there a form they can fill out to get their life back, to get their reputation back? Is there something they can fill out, or some app they can download and fill out so their name won't come up on all these Google searches anymore? No. And that's the terrible part. They're ruined, and they're always going to be ruined. There's nothing to undo that. And here it is, media, yet again, in the scant stories where there's actually an accusation of oppression against black people by white people based on race. Somehow there's a racial element in this. How many of these fall flat on their face? Haven't we seen in this arena more race hoaxes than actual racially based hate crimes by white people against black people? Because you've noticed that the demand for racism far outstrips the supply. And this is just another example of where they were trying to get some supply, and they ended up absolutely ruining the lives of three guys based solely on the color of their skin. And this woman's not getting her due punishment. You know, the statute of limitations is up on perjury, so she can go out and say, yeah, I lied on the stand, and there's nothing legally that can happen to her. She's still in jail, but she's going to get out. If you killed somebody, if those Duke lacrosse guys had killed her, do you think they'd only get 18 years? Heck, they'd probably get more than that if they'd been found guilty of rape. So is this really an unjust system Is this really a hate-filled racist society that's unfairly targeting black people? Or do we see them more often unfairly targeting the opposite? 800-288-9227, 800-288-9227. You know, they talk about how parents have to have a talk with their kids, based on race. I think all races have to do that. White people, you tell your kids, hey, if you're going to be accused of something like this, no one's going to come to your defense. So don't even get close to anything like that. You probably shouldn't have even had a stripper at the party. That's the only way this could have been avoided. But anybody who is of darker skin tone than you will go out and make an accusation against you, and the media will have a tendency to believe it, even with no evidence, because it didn't happen. That's pretty scary. 800-288-9227 if you have any comments on that. Coming up next, we're playing Name That Artist. If you want to play Name That Artist, same phone number, 800-288-9227. Someone's getting Gabriel Iglesias tickets next on The James Show. I'm James Parker. It's News Talk 820 WBAP, now on FM at 93.3. Sports fans, James Parker here for the Prize Picks app. They have the big Army-Navy game coming up. Of course, your regular football schedule's coming up. And with your inside knowledge of just how disappointing the Cowboys can be, why don't you take that knowledge, use it to your advantage on the Prize Picks app, and at least get some money out of the deal. And I'll make it easy for you. It's a daily fantasy sports app. If you don't know what I'm talking about, it's easy to figure out. Download the app, use promo code WBAP, and with your first $5 play, we'll give you $50 in promo cash so you can figure out what's going on and start turning that into real money. And all it takes is downloading an app. It takes the promo code WBAP, and it takes $5. Check it out for yourself. Prize Picks. Run your game. Hey there, welcome to the James Show, News Talk 820 WBAP, now on FM at 93.3. Who wants to see Gabriel Iglesias? He's a good comedian. Makes a lot of fat jokes, but he can get away with it. That's what happens when you're a man of size. I was thinking about gaining a bunch of weight so I could do fat jokes too, but I don't know, man. I'm having trouble eating this chicken in here. By the way, if you want to play Name That Artist, 800-288-9227. I go to the 7-Eleven that's by the studio here at the American Airlines Center, and I just love the food that they have there, the gourmet food that they have off the rollers. I eat that probably 2-3 times a week. It's awesome. Well, they also do this thing where they'll put 8 nuggets on a stick, like these chicken nuggets, but they'll dip them in hot sauce. So I have like this shish kebab of 8 nuggets with buffalo sauce on them. And I get that sometimes. It's great because it's just like straight protein. I eat like an animal. Well, on the door today, they said, okay, if you get a stick of 8, you get another one for free. I guess they had to unload some. Well, I'm your guy. So I didn't realize 16 chicken nuggets is a lot, man. And so I got through about the first 12, and these last 4 have been a chore. Like I just been hate eating these things. So I'll be in Gabriel Iglesias territory pretty soon. But it's Name That Artist. In honor of our guest of the day, we had Max Lukather, the founding member of Toto and the one member who's been there the whole time. He's just actually a session musician and been on all kinds of other hits that you've heard of. And so we made a montage of specifically 10 songs from him for today's Name That Artist. Ready for the montage? If you know these 10 songs and you want to see Gabriel Iglesias, call 800-288-9227. Ready, go. All right, so there's your montage. To the phones we go. First contestant for today's Name That Artist, Kenny and Denton. Are you ready?
I missed the montage.
Play it again.
I just got on.
Okay, go. Ready?
Sorry.
No, just name it as we go then. We've done this before.
All right.
He's going to play it and you just shout it out, okay?
Okay.
Who was that?
Hello?
You don't hear it?
No.
He doesn't hear it. What if I put him on hold? Hang on. All right, now you're back on, Kenny. Did that help a little bit?
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, I'm lost though. I just got Michael McDonald. That's all I got.
Well,
I know everybody else, but
well, seeing as how there's no one else calling in, that's going to be enough. Congratulations, you're the big winner. I don't know why, because it's too hard. Look, the guys that have been music.
It's just
No. Listen. This is not your fault, Kenny. Guys that have been music DJs for decades, they have an encyclopedic knowledge of music that the rest of us don't share, but they don't know that. You know, like if you have a doctor friend, they'll be like, oh, I have a contusion on my scapula. Like everyone knows what that means. So sometimes Bruce just makes these that he's like, this will be brilliant. All the real music fans will get this. Like, no, we're not encyclopedias. Because I've only done talk radio, so I know music about as much as the average person does. He doesn't realize he knows 20 times more about songs and artists than the rest of us. So you're just going to be the beneficiary of that, okay, Kenny?
Well, that's awesome, man. Thanks, man.
Yep. Well, I appreciate you calling in because, look, this is the lesson. Even if you don't know, but you want the tickets, you might as well call in because if it's too hard, then you're not going to lose. I got to give them to somebody. Someone's going to sit in those seats for Gabriel Iglesias. I'm not going. I mean, what if we had 2 left over? See, he's coming in here. Oh, you're gonna defend yourself now?
I'm hell on trivia nights.
Yeah, you want him on your team for trivia because he knows all those. When we were having Toto on, the guy from Toto, he's like, "Did you know he did the riff from Thriller? Did you know he was on this other song? Did you know he was on this other song?" No, I don't know any of that. I was only 4 when that big Toto album came out. I'm lucky to know Toto. Boy, that was maybe a low point for naming that artist. But for the rest of us, if we want to get tickets to Gabriel Iglesias, he's going to be at WinStar Casino at the Lucas Oil Live Theater. Get tickets and information at winstar.com. Winstar.com. All right, coming up next. Well, am I going to take a saucy caller or am I going to play this audio? You'll find out in 5 minutes on The James Show. I'm James Parker. It's News Talk 820 WBAP, now on FM at 93.3. Hey there, welcome back to the James Show. News Talk 820 WBAP, now on FM at 93.3. We will have a James Show meetup on Tuesday, December 17th, 7 p.m., Richardson Bar and Grill. I have Steve, who just sent me a Facebook message on the break here. He's in the back at Richardson Bar and Grill, separating all the wings out. So when you order on Tuesday, that's going to be the special at Richardson Bar and Grill. If you order their hot wings, it's going to be all right wings. They promised to do that for me. But when I said that, it sounded like a good idea, but I didn't realize they send them all in the same bag. So Steve's in the back right now separating them out. So a round of applause for Steve and all his hard work making that magic happen. What does he get? I think he no, he doesn't get points. That's his family's bar. All right, fine. Give him 2 points. It's like getting a safety. Yeah. So hey, maybe over the holidays when we have like the slow news days and we can just throw out topics that have always been on my mind. I've always thought a safety should be worth 4 points instead of 2. And it would change the game dramatically. Well, again, we'll have to have that discussion probably over the holidays. So I'm not taking a whole lot of days off, by the way. I think I'm only off on Christmas Eve and Christmas. So all those other days, New Year's Eve, I think I'm going to be live. And we do some pretty off-the-wall, wheels-off segments there because there's not enough news to talk about. And so you're just left with whatever dances through my demented little head. And it gets pretty fun. Leslie Stahl, you know her because she's been on 60 Minutes and all kinds of other CBS News stuff. Oh, yeah, we got Neil. You're going to hear her fret over the mainstream media dying, and then we're going to do a quick autopsy. Oh, I wonder why. But first, let's get our last hit in with Neil Sperry for the 46th annual Christmas is for Caring fundraiser. And Neil, it's been an honor finally getting to work with you. You're a guy that I thought just came with the radio. Oh my goodness. How long did that take you? That's wild. I'd be honored. 214-525-2550. So you remember just 2 months ago when Kamala Harris finally went on 60 Minutes and they edited her answer. They asked her a question. She gave a goofy answer. And so for the promo, they swapped out another answer. And then they never, ever released the full unedited interview. And so they were selectively editing stuff in favor of the candidate. That's one thing to remember. But Leslie Stahl was on some local New York City TV show, and she just can't figure out why people's trust in the media is dying. Just no idea. It could be anything. We have no idea. We may never know.
No, I'm very worried about the press, extremely worried about the. Well, for example, I once asked Donald Trump, why do you keep pounding on the press? This was right after he won in 2016. And he said, I do it and I repeat it because the more I do that, the less people are going to believe you when you say negative things about me and whatever else.
Totally.
And it's happened. If you watch the opinion of us, how many people trust the press anymore? I mean, we're way down there with the lawyers.
Yeah.
This is really rough, as you know.
You're lucky you're that
way
high.
down there with Congress.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I mean, we're way down there with Congress, but we're way down there. And I despair. But we're at a point where if the President of the United States is going to say legacy media is dead, well, I guess Musk said that. Legacy media is dead.
And he wants it dead. He wants other media.
But it is kind of, sort of hobbling right now. And I don't know how it recovers.
Stop lying to us. That's how it recovers. I don't know how we get them to trust us again. Stop lying to us. Stop selectively editing Kamala Harris's videos or whoever the Democrat candidate is. And, you know, Leslie Stahl, we remember, even if we don't remember specifics, we remember 60 Minutes lying to us before. We now know, beyond a shadow of a doubt, this isn't a theory, that they've falsified some FISA court documents to get a warrant on Carter Page because he was in Donald Trump's close orbit so they could spy on the Trump campaign. But when he tried to say that in the election, right before the election.
Scandal was when they spied on my campaign. They spied on my campaign.
There's no real evidence of that.
Of course there is. It's all over the place. Leslie,
Sir,
they spied on my campaign and they got caught.
Can I say something? You know, this is 60 Minutes, and we can't put on things we can't verify.
You won't put it on because it's bad for Biden.
We can't
Look,
put on things we can't verify.
Leslie, they spied on my campaign.
Well, we can't verify
It's been totally
that.
verified.
No.
It's been, just go down and get the papers.
That's your argument? No, it happened. And we all know it happened now. At the time, I guess, you know, there were experts. She also pushed back on the Hunter Biden laptop. You know, she gave the old, 51 current former intelligence official said that it has all the hallmarks of Russian disinformation. Now, the audio I'm going to play from that sounds wonky. Why? Because they never released the unedited tape of his response to that. So we had the one that Trump took a backup on a phone.
One of the hottest, most important issues in your rallies.
I don't know about the two gentlemen you mentioned.
This is the most important issue in the country.
It's a very important issue to find out whether or not a man's corrupt who's running for president, who's accepted money from China and from Ukraine and from Russia.
All these
I think
things
that's
have
an
been
important issue.
investigated and
It's incredible the way you
see all these things have been investigated and discredited. You're wrong. How about you first? How about you apologize for being wrong over and over and over? And your terrible reporting on Trump, on Hunter Biden, on all of these other issues, whether it's Carter Page getting spied on or selectively editing Kamala Harris. Honesty is how you get out of that, Leslie. Honesty. You should try it. All right, Bricks and Dunn coming to Lucas Oil Live at WinStar World Casino and Resort May 11th. It's one of our contests where you can win tickets from us. So if you're a Bricks and Dunn fan, you want to text the word country to the same phone number I give out for call-ins, 800-288-9227. Text the word country to 800-288-9227. We got to get them to somebody. I hope they go to a James Show listener. So go ahead and text in and play all our contests. I will love you forever for it. Thank you very much for hanging out with the James Show. Mark Levin's up next. I'm James Parker. This has been News Talk 820 WBAP, now on FM at 93.3.